The previous generation Subaru Forester was perhaps the most practical vehicle on sale, except it lacked a premium feel. It was noisy, dated, and sluggish. And this new one looks to change all of that. Well, no, it's still slow, but it's trying. No, it's not. They got rid of the turbo option. We'll just start now. The exterior of the new Subaru Forester is reminiscent of the old one. One thing that I really like about the old one and the new one is this really low slung hood, which is partially thanks to the 2.5 liter boxer engine, which is flat, so they can at least eliminate some of that excess space. It gives you better visibility inside, and it kind of gives it a unique look. You get 8.7 inches of ground clearance too, which if looking at it doesn't look like much, but I guarantee you'll feel it whenever you're going over some high curbs and you don't have to worry about it. Coming around to the side, you're met with this one really odd profile line. Like if you look at it in the old one, it was just a straight line. And this one, it's like this kind of weird egg shape. Reminds me of the old Mercury Sable Ford Taurus thing that they did in like the 2000s where they're obsessed with oval shapes. Alloy rims on the base model, which is nice. It's an option, except they look really basic. You're thankful that they're at least alloys, but I wish Subaru would get a little bit more creative with it rather than just the like garbage can style ones, but it's okay. Plastic mirrors, plastic body cladding. Not a huge fan of the mirrors. Coming around to the back, you're met with these cartoony like lights, which not a huge fan of. It looks out of place to me. And one last thing I'd like to note is how boxy this thing still is. And you'll see a lot of cars now, they're sweeping roof lines, which maybe some people think that looks cool or sexy, but you're just taking out the practicality of it, because in this you're gonna get more cargo room inside and more headroom, along with these large-ish windows, which are going to give you better visibility. Earlier this year, I drove a 2018 Subaru Forester, and my biggest letdown was the interior. Now, it was big, and this one is still big. Even in this base model, you still have enough adjustability to work for about anybody. Just requires manual movements. You still get a 6.5-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. The sound system is a 6-speaker unit, and if it's anything like the previous generation, which it's pretty much the same, it's going to sound great, has a lot of power. The Harman Kardon system is better, but for most, this is going to do just fine. As you will note, there is no dial down here for Xmode because this does not have it. You still get the electronic parking brake. It's new now and standard on all of them. But now let's talk the actual interior look. It has this weird golf ball kind of thing going on. And as my cameraman noted earlier, it's a different texture from panel to panel, which I kind of think it's small, but come on, Subaru, you got to pay attention a little bit more. It's definitely leaps and bounds ahead of what it was previously. And I actually do find myself enjoying the interior look, even in this base model, and in the Touring and the Limiteds, it's actually really nice. From a distance, it would be hard to tell if this is a different car. And that's what I almost like the most about this interior, is that it just builds onto the previous generation, but does everything better. It's more comfortable, more spacious where you need it to be. The details are, other than those plastics kind of not blending perfectly, the fit and finish is Volkswagen level. As far as Subaru's Starlink system goes, it's just as responsive as ever. And mentioned before, you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. The The kind of multi-screen thing that they got going on here in the base model isn't as pretty as it is in the other models. You don't get as many readouts in the second screen up here. On the upper trim models, you get a manual mode, which just gives you paddle shifters. This one does not have that. You get a plastic steering wheel. Feels fine, actually. There's kind of a lot of buttons. They try to make them simple They try to make them simple, at least to use and read. So I appreciate that. Now I'm in the back of the Subaru Forester, and it's basic, but big. You get, again, a lot of headroom, a lot of legroom. I'm 6'3", 6'4" in some shoes, and this is plenty for me. You still get support too, which is nice. Unlike the Volkswagen Tiguan that I reviewed earlier this year, you get support around your legs, which is nice. When you shut the door, you're welcome to some soft touch here and nothing here, because on the base model you don't get any form of center console. And you don't get reclining seats. You get reclining seats, albeit just a little bit, but it's nice, and I would wish that they'd put that into the base model. It can't seem like it costs that much to just put that in there. But Subaru held out on that. You only get one map pocket under or behind the passenger seat. You would get some USB ports, but in here you just get blank stuff and a little plastic cubby. Back into the cargo area, we see a vast improvement over the previous generation. I believe only 35.7 cubic feet just back here. You get 5 inches extra in the actual opening, which is very helpful if you got any wide things that need to go back here. And they also have cut into the wheel wells as much as they could, so you really get a practical space here. On the Touring and Limited, you get a electronic release of these seats right here, which you don't really need. But also have to note, you have this all-weather stuff on every single model, which is really nice if you got any dogs or anything. And last thing I'd like to note, on Subaru Foresters, if you get a hitch, there is trailer sway control like on the Ford F-150, which I find that kind of cool. I don't know how many people are actually going to use that, but you got it. When it comes to driving dynamics, the previous generation Subaru Forester sort of disappointed. The main shortcoming of it was that transmission, the CVT. And here you're also met with a CVT, but I'm glad to report that it's less rubber band-like. I know there's no gears, but it still feels linear. When you step on it, you actually get a little bit of a pushback. Like it's not just a slow process of it changing its ratios. It's working with about the same horsepower. 170 horsepower was in the previous gen. Now we're up to 182. And unlike that generation, you don't have the option for the turbocharged engine, and you don't have an option for a 6-speed manual, so you're stuck with that CVT either way. I'm glad that they at least made the CVT better, but a little disappointed to see that go, because it was a decent transmission. It seems more quiet. The engine also sounds more refined. It's more sensible overall. Complementing that horsepower is 176 pound-feet of torque, which pretty healthy for a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. The only issue is that other competitors, like the Honda CR-V that used a small turbocharged engine, they make similar torque, 179 pound-feet of torque and 184 horsepower for the CR-V, but the CR-V makes that at a lower rev range as far as torque goes, whereas this makes its peak torque at 4,400 RPMs. Now, something that high means that off the line, it's not awful, and again, better than last year, except speed in a naturally aspirated Forester has never been a strong suit. What has been is visibility, and holy shit, there is so much of it. You feel like you're a freaking hawk or something. It's insane. The low door panels and the low hood, huge windows. Like this window right here is massive. Skinny pillars make it almost fun. And I talked about this with the last one, and it's true here too. It is fun to drive because you can see everything. Maybe that'll get old, but hell, it's fun to change lanes because you can see everything. Maybe it's because I'm just used to driving my car, but dang, I like this. Now we'll throw it into some more rough roads over here. And I've kind of driven this for a minute now, and it handles bumps very well. It leans a little bit stiff. It's not wallowy. It stays pretty poised. Going around some corners. Oh man, that CVT is better, but it's still a CVT. It's not all that fun. The visibility is fun. The steering, not so much. It's numb. I'm just gonna say that. It's weighted okay. Weighted actually pretty nice. And as far as the response goes, it's not awful. It still inspires confidence, but not in the same way that the Mazda CX-5 does. I do wish this was just a little bit sharper. Again, not bad. It still inspires confidence, and I do like that body roll is kept to a minimum because of the low center of gravity. And with the CR-V and the CX-5 doing a pretty good job at providing feedback, I wish Subaru did the same and gave you a little bit of fun. When it's going over these bumps, it handles good. It soaks up everything. It doesn't come in through the steering wheel. And the seats that I talked about earlier, they're still comfortable. They do lack lumbar support, so if you got a weird back or something, this may not be the best, but my back is completely fine. The seats are soft enough where I don't see many of you having issues with this. Of course, if you get a different model than the base, you're probably you will get lumbar adjustment. It seems more quiet than the last generation. They've definitely added some insulation here, and it's more aerodynamic too, so that's going to help with wind noise. So we'll launch here and test that power. That's pinned. 30, 40, 50, 60. It's okay. The turbocharged competitors would definitely be quicker. But one thing that they can't boast is fuel economy. And here you get 33 on the highway, 26 in the city, and 29 combined. A lot of front-wheel drive competitors can't do that, let alone all-wheel drive. And these only come in all-wheel drive. And this isn't just some dinky front-wheel drive slip, rear-wheel drive come on, all-wheel drive system. This is full-time right here. This is how you do it. On this model, you don't get Xmode, which honestly I've seen videos, and it's kind of a gimmick. It makes it easier to handle off-road, but you're actually, if you're really stuck, your best bet is just to shut off traction control and give it a go, because you're going to need slip to get out. Subaru acknowledged this, at least with the Sport model, and you can get the 2-mode Xmode. And that comes with a mode that lets you slip a little bit, and maybe that's better. Maybe it's just as good as shutting off traction control. Regardless, this is probably one of the most capable with that aforementioned 8.7 inches of ground clearance. You're going to be pretty much okay with about anything that snow will throw at you in at least the United States. Canada, you may want to get some snow tires or something. I don't know. Snow tires are actually a pretty good bet anywhere because they help braking, which all-wheel drive is not going to help you brake. The active safety suite is excellent. EyeSight comes standard on all vehicles. That means that you get adaptive cruise control, which I don't even know how to set it.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Is that it? So right now, I have adaptive cruise control on. And it's set to, hey, buddy, we're going fast. So it'll, oh my gosh, this is weird. Oh, whoa, whoa, buddy. You're going fast. Oh my gosh. And Subaru is very committed to their eyesight systems, and here it comes standard. You get adaptive cruise control, which I'm using right now. It really holds. It's kind of neat. It almost feels like somebody else is driving. So this person is going very, very slow. I am not doing anything. Oh, see, there's a bike. I have not touched the gas since I was going 55 or 60. It's still set to 50. Nothing. Foot is up. And now it's accelerating. I have not done anything. It's just following this person in front of me. So this is the gap that it's chosen, and I can adjust it via these buttons right here. And it will just hold me like this. Lane keep assist works very well. Just slightly, you should go this way. Oh no, go that way. You're departing lanes, as it's doing right now. It's probably gonna. Yep, there it goes. I have not steered. It is just keeping me. It's basically just throwing me lane to lane. But like right there, it just turned perfectly for me. But it will alert you to keep your hands back in the wheel and tell you that you're an idiot. And you also get forward collision mitigation.
The Subaru Forester has improved immensely this year, but I would like to highlight the big negatives. It is missing soft touch materials on the center console and where your right knee might rest. The steering is numb, the factory warranties aren't as extensive as Volkswagen's, the base model costs $1,500 more than last year, there are no optional engine or transmission combos, and that sole powertrain still needs extra grunt. All that being said, the Forester has a sense of quality to it that it didn't in years past. It's quiet, the engine and transmission are noticeably more refined, and the interior is a more pleasant place to be, and the details are accounted for too, especially in the upper trims. Above everything else, the new Forester is once again the most practical vehicle on sale, but the competition is closing in. The new RAV4 was released the day after I shot this video, and it surpasses the Forester in more than a few categories on paper. For me, the Forester sits on top of the segment at the moment, but with new competition over the horizon, that might not last long. Thanks for watching. More videos and content are on the way. Subscribe to get them as soon as they come out, and I'll see you then. I'd also like to give a huge thanks to Royal on the East Side for sponsoring this video. Royal on the East Side is a dealership in Bloomington, Indiana. They have a diverse selection of vehicles, and the sales staff are honest, respectful, and knowledgeable about their products. If you're looking at new or used vehicles, you should check them out.